Chapter 593 You Corpse Generals, I Corpse Official. Yao Nan did not waste time talking to Mo Fan. He glided over to Mo Fan with a flap of his wings and lifted him into the air by grabbing the back of his coat. All you need to do is to charge forward, forward, forward. Yao Nan said to the squad. Yao Nan flew higher into the sky, bringing Mo Fan along with him. Black corpse aura covered the whole area. Everyone could only see the two flying away above the densely packed undead army and taking the initiative to attack the corpse official in the black sandstorm. Those two, I bet they don't even know how they are going to die, swore Zhang Li. Yeah, that's a commander-level undead, one that even a team of advanced magicians would have trouble killing, let alone a single advanced magician and an intermediate magician, said Zhou Ming, extremely worried. Someone has to sacrifice their lives in a war like this. It's reasonable for them as captain and vice-captain to step forward under the circumstances. We shall not put their effort in vain. Let's regroup with the army. That's right, we shall not let our two captains down. Charge, kill those filthy creatures. If I survive this, I might even make it to the undead ranking. Ha ha ha. Obviously, Yao Nan and Mo Fan's action of taking the initiative to attack had eliminated their fear of the commander-level creature. It had helped to raise the troops' morale significantly. On the other hand, Mo Fan was feeling extremely unpleasant. He was forced into the dragon swamp and lion's den even though he had just accomplished a difficult mission. Yao Nan had dragged him away before he could even catch his breath. He felt the urge to ask Yao Nan whether his previous statement of leaving the commander-level creature to him was pure bullshit. When Mo Fan was forced to join the war, he already mentioned that he would only handle servant class and warrior-level undead. If there were commander-level undead that no one could handle, he would be the first one to fly back to the walls with his fleeing shadow. In the end, he was flying above the undead army consisting of thousands of zombies. His minuscule figure was approaching the black sandstorm, which loomed over them like a mountain. He could barely see some black tentacle-like objects twisting around inside the sandstorm. Yao Nan, we aren't even close to begin with. Let me go, and I'll still treat you as my friend. Otherwise, if I ended up turning into an undead, I will fucking rape all your boyfriends, cursed Mo Fan. Even though I look feminine, my sexual orientation is still normal, said Yao Nan with a smile, one that was no different than the smile of a cunning fox. What are you actually thinking of doing? I'm just an intermediate magician. Don't treat me like an expert like you who can fly, jump, and kill hundreds of undead with a single spell. Mo Fan was infuriated. Enough with the acting. 4 elements, and 2 summoned creatures. I know you don't want to use all you have when there are people around. I've brought you along on purpose so you can fully utilize all you have. Look, there are so many corpse generals down there. I'm still keeping my promise, I'll handle the corpse official myself, but I need you to keep the corpse generals busy, said Yao Nan. Yao Nan flapped his wings and spun around nimbly in the air. 3 to 4 fleshy tentacles, the same as the one that had attacked the eagle before, sprang at them, yet Yao Nan managed to dodge them all with ease. One of the tentacles even swept past Mo Fan's lower body, forcing Mo Fan to withdraw his legs by obstructing Newton's law of motion. The eerie fleshy tentacle was not capable of turning corners. It missed Mo Fan's pants by mere centimeters. Mo Fan could feel the area between his legs twitching. His expression was no longer describable with just 1 or 2 foul words. Kill the corpse official, and its soul remnant is mine. Mo Fan began to negotiate as he knew that there was no turning back. Not a problem. I happen to have an undead container with me. I'll keep it for you. As long as you can survive those poison tumor corpse generals, said Yao Nan, smiling. What poison tumor corpse generals? Fuck me. Mo Fan was about to say, I don't see them, when Yao Nan let go and dropped Mo Fan onto a tiny slope on the ground. Undulating rises could be seen across the place, yet many places were still crawling with undead. Mo Fan falling from the height of 100 meters to the ground was like parachuting into a giant pool filled with alligators. Initially, the alligators were simply enjoying their sunbathe on their own. However, Mo-Fan's sudden appearance immediately startled them, and their eyes glittered as they began to gather toward him. Mo-Fan did not even have the time to greet Yao Nan's ancestors. To cushion his landing, he quickly cast Fleeing Shadow, and his body merged with the shadows. Lucky for him, it was still night time, with a strong presence of death. He could use Fleeing Shadow whenever he wanted. Otherwise, even if he were not bitten to death by the zombies when he landed, he would at least break a leg or two. Swift Star Wolf, Little Flame Bell, hurry, come out and save me. Mo-Fan had a grim look when he saw the zombies gathering toward him. It was no longer a joke this time. He was all alone among the undead. Although most of the undead were attracted by the army of magicians, the number of undead in his area was still shocking. Most importantly, the commander-level corpse official was not far ahead, and there were lots of corpse generals around it. He had seen at least 5 corpse generals mixed with smaller packs of undead coming toward him with just a rough glance. Swift Star Wolf, you handle that limping one. Try and lure it to the bottom of the hill. The other undead will have a hard time going there, so you can focus on dealing with it. Little Flame Bell, build firewalls around with me at the center. I want them to cover a wide area, and burn endlessly. The stronger the better. Mo-Fan used the remaining time he had left to catch his breath and allocate tasks for his 2 summoned beasts. The Swift Star Wolf would not have any problem handling a little corpse general on his own. Meanwhile, the Little Flame Bell was capable of handling a big corpse general too, yet Mo-Fan would not let her fight against one by herself, as he needed her to protect him, keeping the servant-class zombies at least 200 meters away at all times. That way, Mo-Fan would be able to fully focus on dealing with the corpse generals. Chapter 594, Killing Zombies to Level Up. Little Flame Bell had grown up after eating soul seed pieces. There was no limit to the flames she could spit from her body. Whenever she puffed up her cheeks, the Little Flame Bell would spit out flames like a huge red carpet. Little Flame Bell kept on spitting out flames, covering everything within 200 meters around Mo-Fan. These were flames that could last for a long period of time. The flames were tiny at the start, like weeds that had just sprouted. However, their strength was their ability to last, allowing them to grow stronger as they burned. The flames spread into the surrounding area, forming fiery grass carpets everywhere. It totally resembled some fire rituals when seen from the sky, showcasing Little Flame Bell's artistic talent, which she had developed after watching anime since she was very young. The flames covered a wide area, with lots of fire sprouts. It would take some time for them to grow into fire saplings. However, the zombies would not simply wait until Mo-Fan was done constructing his firewalls. They sprinted across the fiery carpets that were still unable to pose any threat to them toward Mo-Fan. One mutated zombie in particular was excessively quick, leaving a trail of wind behind. It leapt into the air when it was still 10 meters away from Mo-Fan, extending its sharp claws at him. Mo-Fan's arms were covered in lightning. When he caught a glimpse of the agile zombie, he immediately pushed his hands forward, directing the lightning strikes to attack the creature lunging at him. The agile zombie was struck by lightning in midair. The living ropes of electricity scorched the creature, leaving it twitching on the ground at Mo-Fan's feet. Regardless of how agile the zombie was, it was completely useless after its limbs were paralyzed. Mo-Fan kicked the creature away, and it fell onto one of the fiery carpets nearby. The weak flames slowly crawled over the creature's body. The fire sprouts made contact with a burnable substance, allowing the fire to grow stronger after devouring the zombie's body. Just a second ago, the fire sprouts were only the height of weeds, but now, they had instantly grown to half a meter. The little loach pendant quickly collected the zombie's soul remnant. Its continuous buzz was like an electric stick, pleading and asking Mo-Fan to kill more creatures. Mo-Fan scanned his surroundings and immediately discovered 2 zombies making their way toward him across the fiery carpets around 100 meters away. They completely disregarded the fact that their feet had caught on fire, showing no intentions of looping around the flames. Straightforward creatures like these zombies were Mo-Fan's favorites. If they were any other species of demon creatures that lived in packs, even the slow giant lizards, they would never try to cross the fire carpets, as the pain from the burns would simply drive them away. However, the undead were different. They had no sense of pain. Their movements were like machines, allowing Mo Fan to use a perfect plan to deal with them. Fire burst. After Mo Fan waved his right hand, a streak of flame landed accurately on the fiery carpet, drawing a 100-meter arc in the sky. In the following second, the fire erupted into a bigger fire with a diameter of almost 2 meters. The two zombies, who happened to be standing relatively close to one another, were blasted into pieces. Their flaming body parts scattered across the fire carpet. The fire sprouts suddenly rose a meter high, like plants that had just absorbed nutrients. Even though it was still some distance away from achieving the firewalls he planned, with another fire burst and zombies as the fuel, the walls would soon be built up. Little Flame Bell flew around Mo Fan like a little fairy, spreading more carpets of hungry fires across the place. Mo Fan continued to cast fire burst from his palms and throw them at the places covered by the fire carpets. The fire burst helped the flames to grow by blasting the zombies charging toward them into pieces, providing fuel for the fire sprouts. The fire sprouts grew into shoots and gradually became fire trees. Under all the effort that the father Mo Fan and daughter Flame Bell put in, a wall of flames was finally constructed around them. As a matter of fact, the flames were more like rows of trees setting up defensive perimeters around them. The zombies were rapidly set aflame when they sprinted into the fire brainlessly. Although there existed zombies that were quicker or had skin that was not flammable, they still turned into fiery figures when trying to cross the layers of defense. The flames were deadly for the zombies, yet Mo Fan was not even afraid of the fire due to his outstanding fire resistance. On top of that, with the little Flame Bell beside him, Mo Fan could simply weave through the flames freely. On the other hand, unless the zombies had enough numbers to simply trample the flames and extinguish them, they would simply be burned to death in the forest of flames. Mo Fan had no intention of fighting the zombies head-on. He continued to weave through the flames while building the firewalls, erecting barriers to guarantee his safety. If the number of zombies suddenly became overwhelming, Mo Fan would not mind sending a fiery fist, 9 hauls across the place. The surging fiery pillars would detonate the heat accumulating in the forest of flames, which not only would eliminate the zombies that had stacked up over a period of time, it would also help the flames to grow stronger. The corpse generals had already made their way to the firewalls. It was somehow impossible for the flames alone to destroy their flesh, but the burning effect of the flames was continuous. The sturdy flesh of the corpse generals could easily endure the damage dealt by the flames, but when Mo Fan started blasting them with intermediate spells, inflicting severe damage, the burning effect would drain their life force at a much quicker rate. Little Flame Bell never stopped spitting out plant-like fire sprouts that were able to grow at a shocking rate. The zombies entering the flames were simply like logs fed into the flames as fuel. When the fire fully evolved into a dense forest of flames, green soul remnants were continuously floating toward Mo Fan from all directions, without him casting a single spell. In the beginning, the green light dots flying toward Mo Fan were like fireflies, yet as the fire grew stronger and the number of zombies increased, the light dots became denser, and at times, would simply form a line of glowing dots in the air. The little loach pendant crazily absorbed the soul remnants and refined them into soul essences. Mo Fan initially thought it would take him a while to refine 10 soul essences, yet at the rate he was collecting the soul remnants, it was possible that he could finish his stars tonight. Luckily, Little Flame Bell is able to produce fire sprouts of the Calamity Fire. Otherwise, I wouldn't even last a few minutes against so many zombies. The fire is now as strong as a group of fire magicians casting fire bursts continuously. I should eliminate the poison tumor corpse generals as soon as possible. Mo Fan was currently standing in the middle of a sea of flames. He was well aware that the flames were only effective against the brainless zombies. His real enemies were the 3 poison tumor corpse generals, still observing the situation from outside the fire. Chapter 595 Poison Tumor Corpse General. Soul Essence? I was just wondering, the zombies should be dropping a natural soul essence after I've killed so many of them. The 44th star is done. Mo Fan was in a great mood. When he saw countless zombies lunging into the flames, turning into green light dots floating into his pendant, he simply felt like countless gold coins were floating toward him. He had now strengthened the 44th star, only 5 were left until the next breakthrough. He was both excited and anticipating that happening. A 4th-tier fiery fist, when Little Flame Bell was possessing him, would simply destroy everything. He remembered that when he encountered Commander Lu Nian, it was Mu Ningzhu's ice crystal bow with an outstanding power that had saved everyone's life. Otherwise, they would have died at the hands of that devilish murderer. If he completely strengthened all his stars, it would grant him a chance when fighting against an advanced magician. Horrifying cries came from the crackling flames. Mo Fan was still enjoying the process of watching the little loach pendant collecting the souls when a monster whose entire body was unleashing a deadly blue poison rammed into the walls of fire like a jeep. Its momentum was incredibly shocking, and even the raging flames could not stop it. Poison Tumor Corpse General, Little Flame Bell, I'll leave the zombies to you. Just keep on adding fire. Mo Fan reminded her. A bloody light appeared under Mo Fan's feet, swiftly covering his lower legs like armor. Mo Fan stomped his foot and leapt 5 meters into the air. The Poison Tumor Corpse General charged past and below him, knocking a few zombies that were caught on fire flying. Mo Fan landed on the ground softly. To his surprise, the Poison Tumor Corpse General immediately came to a stop and turned to charge at him once again, a gust of wind sweeping behind it. This time, the corpse poison surrounding the creature was even more condensed. It was like a missile filled with poison gas being fired at him. Mo Fan dodged sideways, and at the same time, a black shadowy aura appeared between his fingers. When the Poison Tumor Corpse General was charging at him like an ox again, Mo Fan flung the power of shadows at the creature. 2 black shadow spikes, each of a different size, were thrown out. The bigger spike was thin like a sword, landing on the Poison Tumor Corpse General's waist accurately, nailing it in place. Following behind that was the smaller shadow spike. It pierced the Poison Tumor Corpse General's body and swiftly turned into a few shadow chains, sealing the Poison Tumor Corpse General's soul. Try ramming me again, time to use you as target practice. Mo Fan uttered a hollow laugh when he saw the Poison Tumor Corpse General nailed in place. Mo Fan was just about to kill the creature with lightning when a horrifying shriek came from behind him. Mo Fan turned around and saw a line of green poisonous liquid spraying toward him. Leaving aside how corrosive the poison was, the speed it was traveling at was enough to penetrate a wall of bricks. Departing Nether Shield, Mo Fan half panicked. He could sense how dangerous the poison was, and immediately summoned the Departing Nether Shield. The polygon-shaped dark blue Departing Nether Shield appeared in front of him, and the corrosive poison splattered across it. Mo Fan could hear the sound of water dropping into a pot of boiling oil. The Departing Nether Shield was made of some unique metal, allowing it to resist various kinds of attacks, including magic, yet when it came into contact with the corrosive poison, the polygon-shaped shield simply melted and turned into a shape beyond recognition. Mo Fan was given a great scare. If the Poison Tumor Corpse General's poison was corrosive enough to melt the Departing Nether Shield, didn't that mean it could easily melt his bones once it hit him? The Departing Nether Shield was no longer usable. Mo Fan did not even have the chance to trigger its Departing Nether Spike. As soon as Mo Fan learned how deadly the Corpse General was, he did not dare to preserve his strength any further. He immediately summoned the Black Snake armor. Extending his hands sideways, he summoned the equipment mark in his soul. Blue-black snake scales covered him, turning into wriggling objects that attached to his body. The brilliance gradually dimmed after they turned into armor, fully covering him. The armor was dazzling in the firelight, containing a hint of evil in addition to the imperiousness it was displaying. Apart from wing magical equipment that could last a relatively long time, other equipment could only last for a certain period of time. As a result, magicians would not equip their armor at the start of a battle, but summon it when needed. However, Mo Fan was well aware that he was fighting against 3 corpse generals at once. One of them was as muscular as a tank, with shocking strength. The creature kept on charging at him. If it hit him, the collision would surely shatter every bone in his body. Another one was standing in the fire. Its poison was utterly deadly. Even the departing nether shield, made of magical metal, was unable to last more than a few seconds. There was no way Mo Fan could allow himself to be touched by it. The last corpse general had yet to appear. It was most likely something cunning like the cloth-wrapped corpse general, waiting to give him a deadly blow when he lowered his guard. In such a situation, every minute not wearing the black snake magic armor would place his life at great risk. Mo Fan had to admit that the black totem snake had given him a godly gift. Not only did the armor made of its scales have a shocking defense, the soft snake scales would not influence his movements at all, giving Mo Fan the ability to protect himself even though he did not possess any defensive spells. I should get rid of the one with poison first. It is posing the greatest threat to me. Mo Fan locked his gaze on the poison-spitting corpse general. The poison-spitting corpse general was a lot different than the muscular one, whose body was covered with poison tumors. Mo Fan believed it would be the easiest to kill among the three corpse generals. A deafening roar came from behind him, extinguishing a part of the firewalls nearby. The corpse general with poison tumors had broken free from Mo Fan's giant shadow spikes. The shadowy black aura around its body had totally dissipated. The giant shadow spikes were effective at sealing a target's movement, yet the effect would only last a very limited time when used on a formidable creature like the corpse general. Those with outstanding strength could even force the giant shadow spikes out using their presence alone. With enemies both in front and behind him, Mo Fan drew a star pattern as fast as possible. Drawing star patterns was a great test of a magician's mental state. If the magician was too desperate, they would simply break the links between the stars, forcing the magician to start over. Mo Fan was well aware of his casting speed. The situation did not give him any time to spare. He had to be quick. He must be able to cast intermediate spells at the same speed as he cast basic spells. He would never be able to achieve the speed he wanted by joining the stars. Mo Fan had to learn to draw an entire nebula with each thought. Chapter 596 Puncture, Imperious Meteorite Fist. Drawing a nebula with a thought. It was basically the fastest casting speed possible for intermediate level. People like Councilman Zhu Meng and senior hunters could easily draw a star pattern with a single thought. Otherwise, how could they possibly complete giant star palaces consisting of 7-star constellations, each consisting of 7-star patterns? It was impossible for Mo Fan to draw a star pattern with a thought, yet it was time for him to master the skill of drawing a nebula with a thought. It would let him finish an intermediate spell within a single breath's time, so that he could fight more than one warrior-level creature at the same time, similar to the current situation he was in. Drawing a nebula with a single thought basically meant drawing 7 stars at the same time. Many people would rely on magic tools to help them practice, and the truth was, many magicians from Pearl Institute already had a faster casting speed than he did. In Mo Fan's spiritual world, the darting stars swiftly drew a brilliant arc under Mo Fan's control. When a star was traveling at a certain speed, it would simply form a continuous shining track across space. Following the same pattern, the 6 other tracks had to be completed simultaneously, too. Mo Fan closed his eyes. As he fully focused on drawing the nebula, it was like time had slowed down gradually, and so did the speed of the corpse generals. 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. Each of the nebulas was completed almost instantly, to an extent that there were no longer stars in Mo Fan's spiritual world, but brilliant nebulas crossing paths with one another. The 7th nebula was completed within a single thought, too. When the star pattern was fully drawn, its brilliance was several times stronger than that emitted during the building process. It was so strong that Mo Fan's body was covered in a magical light. In Mo Fan's spiritual world, the 7 thoughts felt like a prolonged race against time, yet in reality, the 2 corpse generals had advanced less than 100 meters. With their speed, they could easily move forward 100 meters in the blink of an eye. Qinjun, Thunderbolt, Wild Strikes. Mofan's eyes glittered. He pointed his index finger at the sky, directing the lightning bolts now descending from above. There was a flicker of lightning across the fiery ground, and a purple-black lightning dragon descended and struck the poison-spitting corpse general in a spectacular explosion. The poison-spitting corpse general was not as quick as the cloth-wrapped corpse general, and Mofan had cast the intermediate spell so rapidly that it was struck by the bolt of lightning while it was still thinking of spitting poison at him again. The creature fell flat to the ground at the impact, both its body and the soil nearby scorched black. Another ray of lightning appeared with a sharp screech. The lightning strikes descended continuously, each landing on the poison-spitting corpse general's back. The poison-spitting corpse general was just about to rise to its feet when its limbs lost their strength from the paralyzing effect. It was slammed back into the ground again, even deeper. Its back was totally scorched black. The poison tumor corpse general was charging at Mofan with a black gust of wind behind it, preventing Mofan from finishing the spell. He quickly activated the blood tabby and leapt sideways to a nearby slope. A 2-meter-tall black boulder was standing on the slope. When he saw the fierce corpse general charging at him again, he raised his leg and kicked the boulder that was taller than a human. The blood tabby granted Mofan's kick great power. The boulder was sent flying at the corpse general, knocking the creature to the ground. However, the corpse general had thick skin and sturdy flesh. Other demon creatures would have suffered a great injury after being hit by the boulder, yet the corpse general simply rose to its feet as if it were perfectly unharmed. It shook off the broken pieces of the boulder from itself and roared with its big stinking mouth. The roar produced a strong gust sweeping the dust and sand on the ground forward, which extinguished the flames in its path, unleashing its poison into the rolling sandstorm heading toward Mofan. Both the force of the black sandstorm and the poison it contained was too deadly for Mofan to take any risks. Unfortunately, he did not have the light element to nullify the poison spreading toward him. Mofan immediately turned around and ran. The blood tabby could still last for some time. He had to escape from the area of the poisonous sandstorm as soon as possible. The poisonous wind drew closer to Mofan. The blood tabby was not fast enough to outrun it. When Mofan was close to the edge of the firewalls, the poisonous mist finally swept past him from behind. The pitch-black gas completely extinguished the flames nearby. Mofan held his breath and cursed in his heart. Mofan had no idea how deadly the poison gas was. He had heard Shorty mention that once the undead's poison entered one's lungs, the person would be covered in poison spots across the body. Within half an hour, the victim's skin would fester and peel off on its own. In an hour, the person would die, turning into a pool of black slime. Mofan was completely surrounded by the poison. Holding his breath any further would not make any difference. As he was trying to figure out a plan, the black snake magic armor suddenly emitted a dark blue light from its surface. The black poison gas was able to penetrate through one's pores, so it would still poison Mofan even if he didn't breathe it in. However, Mofan quickly discovered that the glow emitted by the black snake magic armor was actually absorbing the poison gas. The poison gas was initially going to enter Mofan's body through the gaps on the armor, yet to his surprise, the glow on the armor's surface was rapidly absorbing the poison gas instead. That's right, the black totem snake is like the primal source of all poison. Miss Tanyue mentioned that the black totem snake could eat anything poisonous, hence why the armor is able to absorb the poison gas. In addition to that, in less than half an hour, the poisonous substance would turn into nutrients for the snakeskin to absorb, making its scales smoother and brighter. Mofan was overjoyed when he discovered that his armor was absorbing and purifying the poison. Perhaps even Huo Tuo, who had forged the armor, was clueless about this extraordinary capability. The poison was absorbed incredibly fast. When the black gas completely dissipated, Mofan's black snake magic armor was in fact shinier. The blue-black flicker it reflected felt icier and deadlier. It's your turn to suffer. Mofan smiled widely. After mastering the ability to draw a nebula with a single thought, he could now finish an intermediate spell within a single breath's time. Little Flame Bell, possess. Mofan's body was already engulfed in fierce flames. As the little flame bell rammed into his chest, flames from the combined calamity fire and rose flame surged upward and rolled in all directions, with Mo Fan at the center. The heat waves reignited the fire sprouts across the land, which burned fiercely. Meteorite fist! Mo Fan roared as he threw a punch out. An astonishing force, like a meteorite lighting up the dim evening, shot out and instantly struck the poison tumor corpse general. The flash of light disappeared instantly, replaced by a trail of flames. The force of the meteorite fist exploded on the corpse general's body as it punctured its thick skin. A hole. The hole filled the corpse general's abdomen. Mo Fan could even see the flames burning behind the corpse general through the hole. The corpse general fell to the ground slowly, and was devoured by the rose flame and the calamity fire greedily.